Welcome back to Live with Loyalty. Um, I'm gonna let everyone hear the audio, of course. Some of the crew of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. They did an interview, and it was about the Erica Mena and Spice situation. So this is a very sensitive subject. Is racism, colorism, and all that in one. So we're gonna sit and we're gonna listen to this. Not showing the video. You can watch the video, but I'm just basically gonna give my opinions to this, and kind of see where their heads at too on it. So we have, I think it's Jock, we have Spice, of course, on here. Can't remember the other one's name, but yeah, this is very serious. And even with me, I did a video on it. It goes way so much deeper. I will stop it when I feel it's time for me to discuss the part that is very interesting to me, and some parts that are very hurtful that we may hear. But it's our history. It's our ancestors. And so I watched it, but it's so interesting. I wanted to share with everyone how I felt, and I want everyone to comment on how they feel and really truly feel. Because you know what? At certain points, I wanted to cry. I did. And I did cry. But, it's that interesting. So, I'm going to go ahead and get started with us listening to this. Okay? First, they will come with Rashida. She's not there, so she's gonna do the opening to the conversation on video.
Hey y'all, it's Rashida here, and thank you for tuning into the season finale of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. This season has been one of the wildest ones yet, even for me, child. We appreciate you, the audience, for always sticking beside us through the good, the bad, the ugly, and of course, the messy. You saw and heard all of it, even Mena's use of a racial slur. For her to blurt that out to Spice like she did, it was hurtful. We all know right from right and wrong from wrong. And for a person to say those things repeatedly and then turn around and act as though it wasn't anything is what really bothered me the most. We've been fighting for so many years, you guys, just to be treated as equal. And at this point, I think it's a great time to have a great conversation. As a leading platform in popular culture, we have a responsibility to you, our audience. What you're about to watch is a roundtable anchored by Dr. Sarah Webb, founder and owner of Colorism Healing, alongside a few of my cast members. Unfortunately, I couldn't be present for this important roundtable, but I am extremely happy that we're making this happen. So please take a moment to watch, listen, and hopefully learn what has been an important moment for Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.
Welcome, everyone. We are here with some of the cast of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta for a candid conversation about the controversial events leading up to the season 11 finale. I am Dr. Sarah L. Webb, the founder of Colorism Healing, which is a global initiative designed to raise awareness, shift attitudes, and take action to dismantle colorism around the globe. The use of racial slurs against a cast member on season 11 has sparked debate and controversy across the internet. MTV thought it was important for some of the cast to continue their conversation as well. We have Yandy, Spice, Jock, Scrappy,
What's happening?
Amy, and Sierra.
Hey.
So we got Yandy, Jock, Sierra, did I say Amy? Amy, Spice, Sierra, and Scrappy.
First, I want to talk about bias and prejudice. This is what people most often talk about in these kind of conversations. So anyone can have a bias or a prejudice, where it's the belief that a group of people is inherently better or inferior than another group, right? Solely based on their race or gender or ethnicity, right? But when we're talking about racism and colorism, we're talking about social systems that go far beyond an individual person's attitudes or opinions. And racism and colorism are about power. So when we have something like colonialism, Europeans, white people, white identified people wanted to hoard economic power, political power, and social power, right? And so racism is about the system that pushes white people to the top of that power hierarchy. Colorism is a system in which even amongst us as people of color, those with the lightest skin tones get more preferential treatment and are propped up in society above those with darker skin tones, all right? And let's talk about Atlanta, the setting of all of this. Atlanta is the mecca of Black culture. Atlanta has a long history, generations of civil rights movements, of protests, right, of sit-ins. And so I'm wondering if you think that the location...
Yeah, I just have to say this. You know, the protesting and stuff like this. It's still a shame that we're still having to do this. Like, our color doesn't matter. It's this hidden thing against us that they know that we are what we are. We are the bomb. We are, to me, we're the best culture, you know? And I know that they know that too. This is why we get treated like we get treated. And everyone that is Black, you know, gets discriminated in some kind of way. Whether it's racism or colorism or both. You know, it is sometimes it do be uncomfortable to talk about, because trying to make the other people understand that they're making you uncomfortable with the way how they talk to you, and you know, because it angers us, and sometimes we don't know how to let it out, because it has happened so many times. And you literally, you know, you don't want to get used to stuff like that. You don't want to get used to stuff like that. And you don't want to go high, because you have a life to live too. This is crazy. Still to this day, we are always fighting. We're always fighting. And a lot of times we do fight up against each other. Why? I even one time I was sitting on my porch. Another young lady, same color skin I have, she was like, "Why you looking so mean? You alright?" Wasn't nothing wrong with me. And I don't know, and I told her, I said, "I'm not mean." She was like, "Well, you too dark skinned to be looking at me." And I'm like, everybody says that to me, but I'm not mean. You know, I can have my ways when people cross me, but for you to just say that out of nowhere and assume that I was mad or upset, like, what made you just walk past my home while I'm peacefully sitting on my porch? And what made you say that out of all things? I think people may say that to her, but don't put what you have off on me. But although people have said that to me before, but anytime they say it, they assuming, because I don't be mad. But I was shocked when she said it, because I'm like, I don't even know you, you know. You just said something to me, what, out of nowhere. Like, when she said it, I was just like, huh? I don't get that. But plenty of that goes on. You know, you really have to have tough skin. You really have to have tough skin. You know, because a lot of times they are uneducated about it, and they really don't know what they're saying. They think, oh, I speak my mind, but you really are saying this stuff to me. You don't know me, and it's like a form of colorism. Like, you're saying that because I'm dark skin, like I got darker skin. I promise you, like, it just seems like I remember just having my head down a little bit, but how would you know how I was looking? Like, you was looking too hard if you said, you know, you saying that I looked at me. It was just crazy to me. But I'm quite sure, you know, explain to me down low in the comments, have you ever had one of those moments? And I know we all have either a racism moment, colorism moment, but explain to me, you know, and I'll come to the comments and and talk with you. Let's carry on with it.
Where this conversation is happening makes it that much more pertinent. In Atlanta, for example, over the past recent years, we've had the deaths of people like Ahmaud Arbery,
yes,
Rayshard Brooks.
Yep.
And so your thoughts, being local to this city, how does this setting of Atlanta really make this conversation that much more significant?
It's a black city, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, as long as I done been living, you know, I done always been through some kind of racism.
So, like, the Confederate flag is still a thing in Atlanta, and
Wow.
It's something that bothers me so bad. Like, it irks my nerve.
I think I was like first grade, and my grandma taught at school. She taught at this school, Rockbridge Elementary. Now, this was predominantly white.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't never seen all these white people before.
Yeah.
It's a total change.
I went to school in Conyers, Georgia. My bus driver was, and Conyers is mostly...
Okay, Sierra, she just straight cut Scrappy off. I mean, she's very anxious, you know, because see, our culture, everybody has been through it, but she should have just, you know, let him speak, and because everybody has a story, and, you know, I think they had some, you know, went to a school alike, or they went to the same school, either or. She should have let him finish.
White. My bus driver would leave me almost every morning.
What?
Just leave me.
What do you mean?
Like,
you reach late, Sierra.
No, I wasn't. Listen, my house...
They said, what do you mean? So she actually left her every morning, and the school was predominantly white. So the most of the people on the bus was white people, and she was like the only black girl. And she's like, when she walked out the door, it's not funny, but how she said it and how everybody started laughing. But you know, you gotta laugh to keep from crying, I say, because this is serious. It really is. And one thing about our culture, when it's time to get serious, but we do have to keep laughing to keep from crying. It's serious. But she was saying that when she would come out of the house, like, la, then the bus driver is pulling off. You know, I'm just like, oh my God, that had to be ridiculous. And they were laughing because they can't see that, because I guess she's probably late all the time. They thinking that Nah, Sierra, you probably was late, because they know her, If not, they know of her because she resides in Atlanta. So that's all they was laughing for.
House was right in front of the school bus. The bus would come, they would open the door, the little white kids would get on the bus, and I'd come out of my house, walking out. Maybe I was walking, but she seen me, and she would just pull off. They was with me.
They were.
They were, right?
So what you're talking about is what people call microaggressions.
Microaggressions.
You're not using the N-word against me. You're not calling me names.
Mm-hmm. That's what they do. That's exactly what they do. Microaggression. They love to, they're not saying the N-word, but you kind of leading now to the subject of the N-word, So, and us as black people, it's not like we want to see these things, but it's right there and you can't help it. You can't help but to see these things and to hear what they say. I worked at a gas station. And a lot of times, you have a lot of white people coming in and out of there. They said a racial slur to my friend one time, and she went off. I had to hold her back, and she was the manager. I had to hold her back because that's not what you're gonna do. See, that's what I mean by we don't know how we're gonna act to it because we already deal with it. And she was, I think my friend is African. And she was really, really upset. She was really, really upset. And I want these cultures to know that you're no better than our culture. Like, even when I was working at the gas station, you would think black people would be the one that steal the most. It's white people. They stole the most. And we just sit there and we look at them, and you can't really touch them, but we just hand us the stuff over, just give it, That's what we had to do, but y'all are discriminated up against our culture, and no culture is better than the other. This is crazy.
Doing things, your actions are trying to put you in a degrading position.
Because she would let all of them, she was like, come on, the white kids would just jump on the bus, and I would come out there with my little book bag, and honey, she would just pull out and slam it. I'm like, dang.
She's like, they're like, little black girl, let's go.
And those are different things that I remember, like growing up in Atlanta.
I think moving here, because I'm from Harlem, another mecca of black culture and creativity, I came with you know what? I think I want to open up a restaurant. I want to open up a skincare store. I was able to own these different properties, but once it comes down to permitting, I have someone that is white that works on my team. Sending her in to get things done,
it's better, easier,
so much quicker than me doing it. Although this is the mecca of black opportunities, resources. So I think racism is everywhere. I think the structural power is all over the United States. I mean, I'm saying the United States because that's where I'm from, but I think it's embedded in systems. No matter how much the state or the city appreciates what black people brings, how much they idolize what we bring, how much they love our culture, I don't think it's any different.
The black, we actually support. We spend the money. It's like, okay, I'm gonna let y'all spend the money, but I'm not gonna give y'all that real respect. I walk into the bank and I'm not respected at all. Until they log into my account. But I see, other race stand next to me and they greet it. How are you doing? And it's just, they looking at it. I don't get that respect.
So you always say that even when black people advance economically, we don't escape racism.
We don't escape.
We don't. I don't care how many businesses that we come up with, we succeed at, we're always still going to look down upon, and a lot of people, you start your business and sometimes you get your own black people being like, well, that costs too much. And, you should lower the price on that. You're not going to the other stores, the white stores, and saying you should lower this, you should lower that. There's a lot of things that you're buying, and they're not even looking out for us like that. You know? But one thing about it, in any culture, I cannot stand going in a store with ignorant people, and then if I support you on any level, I want that support back. I do. But I'm going to support people, period. But what I see, like my dad always used to say, I give you this, but I don't expect it back. You know, because you know who you do not expect it back from. If you said, let me borrow this, now you know you need it for something, but you know I ain't getting it back. So why don't you just, I'm going to give this to you. Go ahead and I'm giving this to you. Pray over it and give it to the person. But this is the same thing with support. It's just like, if I support you and then you go back and you look, you know what? I can't support that person no more, no longer. You know, I don't agree with about, that's in the white culture. White culture too. But white culture is going to stick by each other's side. Man, you see they line outside when the store first opened. If they got an online store, those folks are maxing it up. They making sure they support their people. And a lot of stuff be copycats of something we probably been a did. But they getting more support on it. But at the same time, our money, they literally look at it like, oh, that's black folks' money. Oh, that's black folks' money. When all our money, the color of our money is the same as the whites, the same as the Mexican, the Korean, all of them. Because they all come over here and allegedly it seems like they get more than we do as Americans. So I'm just saying, like, it's everywhere. She's right that, they all have their own little story about having money. I mean, you don't even get the respect before they even know. They gotta know that you have money before you get up there to the teller and they look at your bank account. Now they want to smile in your face. Hey, how you do? They telling the white people, hey, how you doing today? Giving them all the attention and, because white people ain't always kind. They're not always kind. They're rude. Some of them are rude and think that they're privileged. But not every white person. But I have ran into white people and black people that think that they're privileged. But when it comes to the black privileged people, it's like you need to stop. You need to understand that no matter what level you are in life, you still that black person who they still look like, look at you the same as a person that you feel like is beneath your feet. That, don't mean that it's less privileged than you. They still looking at you like that. They could be like, oh, you just one of the lucky ones. And, because like Sierra said, she didn't even graduate. She didn't even finish high school. And because one of her white teachers told her that she was not going to be anything, Just imagine somebody telling you stuff like that. Like something to that. Liking, like something to what she said, something to that liking. But that's ridiculous for a person to open their mouth and act like they can predict in the future who you gonna be, and now she got millions and teaching other people how to get millions. Sometimes I don't like Sierra's attitude, but she's making her money. She's doing her thing as a black female. Every single one of these people at this table.
And then you think about history as of like the Tulsa massacre, right? The race riots in Springfield, Illinois. Sometimes you become more of a target the more success you have as a black person.
That's 24/7.
Anyway, when I was selling one of my properties, my agent was like, you should kind of take some of this art down. You don't really want them to know the race of the house owner. Maybe you should change these pillows and these.
Did y'all just hear that? This is Amy speaking. She was selling one of her properties, and the realtor was like, you should take some of this down so they won't know the race of the owner. Like, really? You know, basically so they can sell it faster. Make it look white. Like you know those pictures, frames when you go into the dollar store or, you know, Walmart. It always has a picture of a picture perfect white family on there. This is how she wanted her to make her house look. It like a picture perfect white person's house with the picket fence and all that type of stuff. Why can't I just be myself? If I work this hard to buy this house, and just for you as a realtor to tell me that I gotta stoop down to other people's level, you might as well wipe the whole house clean. Like, take all my stuff out. I prefer that. And if they don't like it like that, oh freaking well, because we're selling it anyway. You know, when you come and buying a house, you're supposed to have a vision of how, when your stuff gets in there, and how you would want it. You know, so you wanted to come with some houses that be for sale comes with the furniture too, but I wouldn't want people's furniture that, you know what I'm saying? They probably clean it, but I still wouldn't want it. That was their vision. And when you move into your new home, you want your vision, not nobody else's. And if you're not buying the house, then the owner should leave it empty and let them have their vision. And stuff should be set for us as black people too, because that's her property. And she should be able, if she wanted to sell it, she should be able to sell it the way that it was. You know what I'm saying? If she felt she had to take something away, then she should have did it. Because she may have her own vision, but for somebody to tell you that you should be able to do that, Amy, look at how people think. All you gotta listen to is the words that come out of people's mouth, and you'll know who that person is.
They're thinking it didn't make sense. You know, I actually had a white person come in to set it up like it was hers. I felt like I saw a almost overnight thing. It was my first time being like, dang, it's everywhere.
I call it small city, big money. Ran by the whites.
I didn't get a chance to graduate high school, and I had a Caucasian lady tell me I was going to be on welfare for the rest of my life.
Oh, that's what she told
like, who are you? Like, you're not God. But we need conversations like this to shake up the community, to let them know, like, they can do it. That's why it's so important for me to use my voice. I feel like God put me on television not to be cute. Well, to look cute and with my hair and stuff, but to actually open my mouth and say what needs to be said.
She's a girly girl.
That's looking up to you.
Yeah. And what about colorism? Have any of you seen it or experienced it?
Well, I actually did a project on colorism in 2018 where I had to...
I remember that Spice did that before we get to her story, because, and then after that it goes to Erica Mina's story and her story. But I did that, and I said, what if what Erica Mina did, you know, what caused Spice to go back to those feelings to when she did that type of project on Love and Hip Hop that season. She literally wanted to be white. She painted herself white with makeup, and because of the colorism that she was getting. And I said that she would go backwards. It really hurt her. when she had to go through that. You know, she went through racism, she went through colorism, and I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I may be one of those people that look over all that crap, but I see it and I look over it. I step back from it and try not to get mad, you know. But for somebody to actually say it to me, like, you black, they never ever said to me. It probably would have been a problem. But yeah, I knew it would take her back. The situation, I thought it would take her back. The situation with Erica Mena and what she did. True enough, I feel like Spice shouldn't have said anything about her child, even if she wasn't meaning any harm, because just bringing up the word child. But also, Erica Mena, other people were talking about her child on the show. So I think she has her times when she want to confront and say something to someone, and she chose Spice. You know, Erica Mena was saying exactly what she felt in her heart and in her mind. You know, so me personally, I can't look at anything Erica Mena is on, because all I'm going to go back into this Spice situation. She not only said the monkey thing, but she also wished death, which in my eyes, nobody is saying anything about wishing death. Everybody's talking about the monkey thing, and that's horrible just by itself. But you wish death upon her. That you hate her. You're saying it from the depth of your soul. Because a person can talk about your child today and be gone tomorrow. And you don't have to see them no more. You don't have to deal with them no more. But to wish death and call a person a monkey. Like, people are missing the point. Death and monkey? Like what our ancestors had to do, our ancestors who are dead now, and then you wish death upon me? You should never ever get a gig. You need to straighten your whole life up, Erica Mena. And get your whole life together, because that was disrespectful as hell. I know it's very important to be educated about the word monkey. But also, on top of that, you wish death on me. You wish death on me. I don't know what type of person you is. But I found out that day. You said that stuff, Erica, from the depth of your soul. And you meant it. It is no apology. I just don't see accepting that. Your apology needs to be, go and get educated. Go and heal your heart. Because if you had a good heart and you were educated, you would have knew not to say anything like that. And I don't care what nobody say. They can feel any kind of way they feel. If you ain't around here getting called out your name, but this lady did, you can't tell her how to feel. Erica Mena started talking about her son. So then after that, what Spice said was, so you talking about the son that don't like you? Even though, I feel, but Spice is going to speak her mind. I feel like she should have just left it like that. But she didn't have to pick up no table. She didn't have to do all that. I think she just wanted to be that dominant one at that time. Erica Mena. I think she just wanted to be that dominant person at that time. Because she knows how Spice is. Did you want to beat her to the punch or something? Because you know what happens during the sit downs and stuff like that. 9 times out of 10, it goes left. It's crazy.
Use makeup to make it seem like I had bleached my skin to appear lighter. And so I went on a protest and I did a whole light face. I think everybody at the table had a glimpse of it. And it was just my way of protesting to say, do I have to look like this to be more appreciated? Well, I did a song called Black Hypocrisy because I feel like there's a lot of hypocrisy within our Black community when it comes on to colorism as well. But as a darker skinned Black woman, I sadly have experienced racism and colorism majority of my life.
I experienced it. Yeah, man. Remember when I pressed my hair?
Oh yes, that's a part of colorism.
Chris Brown did it.
Yes, that's true. Jock did perm his hair. And yes, like he said, that is a form of colorism. Because, like, why would you accept it from Chris Brown and the other celebrity, but then when it comes to him have a darker skin, it's not okay. It's not okay. Crazy.
Miguel did it.
Oh, yeah. They lighter than you.
Then when I did it,
it's cool when they do it, but it's a problem when we do it.
That's real.
But what it was, they felt like the lighter complexion hair.
And then there's the singers, and that's look like I'm trying to look more like them, and it's easily accepted because of their complexion already.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what? I always thought that like men didn't get it as bad as women because I got it, and I feel like I'm in the middle. You know, women love a chocolate man. You know, I didn't know, so.
But I mean, yeah, when it comes to relationships, probably. But what I've noticed, with brown and skin men, they are more likely to get pulled over by the cops.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They are more likely to be found guilty before they're even trying to be proven
Guilty by complexion. Guilty by complexion.
I think when it comes to society forms, like it's very hard for Black men. I think even sometimes darker skin, even sometimes harder than it is for us. When it comes to society, getting a job, walking in to a restaurant, walking into a store, walking into a bank,
Trying to get a house.
Trying to get a house.
Yeah. We want to zoom in a little bit to the incident that, incited this roundtable where Erica Mena used a racial slur against Spice.
Oh my God, I wouldn't know what would happen to me if something happens to Spice. And I said, well, damn, I was your wife pregnant. Almost lost my life and our baby. In a really dark time. I was in the hospital, which the whole world saw.
But why did you feel the need to compare us, though? Because at the time, you would have.
And
why? Why would you compare?
You're saying that he felt that way. I was his wife, and he felt nothing.
That don't have nothing to do with me if he felt nothing for you. So it's just confusing.
So you're telling me, if you were in my shoes, you're telling me you wouldn't feel no type of way as a woman?
What do you mean if I was in your shoes? In what way? What do you mean? Because I feel like your problem is, Erica, you feel like you're the first woman to be divorced. That's the problem. I feel like you're acting like you're the first woman to be divorced, and you're the first woman that's left with 2 children to fend for. I've been doing it for 14 years. Welcome to the club.
I've been doing it for
nowhere.
16.
Okay?
16.
Okay, with your son that don't like you. My son loves you.
How do you know
Let's talk about that. Stop always thinking about you. That's what I'm talking. You said it. That's what you said. You started the conversation and said, look. You don't know about my son, bitch. No. Come here, bitch. You clown, bitch.
That bitch should have died. You want to mention my kid? You should have died, bitch.
You monkey. You blue monkey.
Then call her a blue monkey.
You should have died, huh?
You should have died. That's what she said.
Bitch. I know we Amara. I told you say never like that girl. You piece of trash.
Still saying. Still saying.
Everybody that is gonna let me out. Hey, I don't believe it.
That was terrible.
It makes my blood boil.
It gives me the chills every time I watch it.
It makes my head hurt and my blood boil.
This is Yandy speaking.
The audacity to be so immersed in our culture, love our men,
love the black
children, proud of it, but can sit there and call a black person, not just a black woman, a monkey, make monkey gestures,
blue monkey at that
sounds.
That's exactly what I want to talk about, is the history of that word, why it's so painful, why it's so hurtful. And I also want to give Spice a chance to react to that, because I saw that you were very emotional just having to replay that.
I done read in books, you know what I'm saying? I done seen it where they done put like real, like a human being, a black human being in a zoo and chained them up and treated them just like a monkey. And dressed them up and everything, have people come pay to just look at them. When that, something like that is said, and like the way she said it, that's all I can think about.
I wanted to calm down first to kind of get over the situation. But I also want to take this opportunity to just educate, because I feel like a lot of our black people, they do not know the depth. Yes. And so even sometimes when I see the comments, I know that it's coming from an ignorant place, and I know that it's coming from a place where they themselves do not understand that our ancestors died, fought for our freedom, for our rights, to even be here, to have a voice. When I heard what happened from Rashida, I was taken aback at first when Rashida said, you know, her child was mentioned, so she reacted, and I was like, you know, I had to be real. I'm a flawed human being, and I remember when my child was mentioned on a reunion show, I got up and I was ready to fight. Then my next reaction was, but why you into a racial slur? And then I started to think, like, Dag, is she a racist? Like, what's that about? And I'm like, I gotta talk to her. I don't think she's a racist. Like, I've spoken to her. So my first reaction was, nah, she's not a racist. She doesn't know what that term means. She's not educated about the violence that has for our community. I know that she doesn't know what this means for our history and our people.
I want to be in the space where Yandy is and say she don't know that, but I'm not going, because I know she's culturally aware. Too immersed in our culture to not know. Because if you tell me you don't know, I'm gonna look at you sideways, because you know too much more about too much other stuff. Can't have what my father would say, convenient amnesia. You use it convenient. Oh, I didn't know. No, you knew.
You know.
And when I know that you know, it's a slap in the face to pretend as if you don't.
I ain't never had seen it like how you. I ain't never had.
I didn't either, because I did my little different place.
So when I seen the little thing saying, "Oh, they done fired" and stuff like that,
because your first live was I was like,
we all were. I said,
but then you came back after he did his research and educated on it. We actually have clips.
Scrap is crazy. I ain't gonna say what I see him doing, but he crazy. The Yandy is like right across the way from him. Yeah, I remember that video, Scrappy, but he got educated. He said I was drunk. He blamed it on the alcohol.
I did not know the gravity.
The gravity.
coming out of my mouth.
He was drinking that.
Okay, let's watch the other one. Look, he went to a whole nother location though.
Changed his t-shirt.
Started drinking some water.
Music came behind him.
Erica Mena was wrong.
Oh my God.
He said Erica Mena was wrong.
Whatever, you know. You do know that? Racism is real. You do know that? See, what had happened was I ain't had seen it. So I'm like,
I've never seen it.
I had seen it. You know he from
there. Like, they two women, they probably just was, you know what I'm saying? It just was like that. But then when I seen it, I was like, wow, nah, like the way she said it, it was like real, like
intentional and deliberate.
It came from the gut.
It came from the gut, like I'm talking about, like
that's what made me change when I seen it. I'm like, oh, I was like, and I was yeah, because I've been really quiet. Not really. I told her how I felt about it. I told her I was like, you wrong.
The term monkey was systematically used to dehumanize the whole black race. It was shocking coming from someone that I know, but I have received racism almost all my life. So being in a racism situation is not new to me. However, since I'm the one in the hot seat and the whole situation stirred from me and her having a discussion, I vividly want to point out and make sure that everyone is aware that I did not come for her child. A lot of people are saying, you brought up the child or whatever it is. She brought up her own son. And so when she brought up her son, I replied and said, to the son that doesn't like you, because I wanted to be clear. Some people were saying they feel like I should be fired too for coming for Erica's parenting. On Love and Hip Hop show itself and its franchise, there's so many different occasions where people came for people's parenting.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like you
As it has always done. Yeah, I came for her parenting
too.
When you're a wife, why they can't ride for you?
I wrote.
So is that why you don't want to pay child support?
Oh my God! Hey, what about your son?
That's the
What about your
truth.
son?
What about my son? What
Your
about
older
my son?
I'm
You're acting like you know something.
Cause I know something about your son.
Crap, you watch this. You watch this.
A lot of people came for her parenting on Love and Hip Hop. Let's be very clear now. She chose to call me a monkey, and not Scrappy, who asked her, where's your son? When she decided, oh, Scrappy is a deadbeat. Scrappy was like, listen, let me worry about mine. Where's your son? Scrappy did not become a monkey.
Yeah.
My whole takeaway is tying back to the color of my skin makes me seem like, oh, the aggressor or whatever. Because I'm of a darker skin tone, they painted me now to be the angry black woman.
Mm-hmm.
I can take
Just like that girl said, I looked at me and I'm like, really?
Her parenting. Her reply could have been a million other words that's in her vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
Why a racial slur? She decided to go the racism route.
Mm-hmm.
When I received that racism from someone that I know, it was a shocker. So for someone to say it to your face, you're like, oh my God, this is who she are. I feel like I left that situation the winner because I revealed a racist. And I don't care what nobody else want to say.
That's right, you did. You're right. She's right.
So 400 years ago, our slave masters would call us monkeys to categorize us, to dehumanize us. So it was a tactic to justify racism.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a tactic used to justify racism to make us seem as we're primates.
Yeah.
And so this is a deeply rooted slur that has nothing to do with me. It goes way, the history, the burden, the blood, the slashes, the tears and the fights and everything is attached to this word.
I went to Ghana and I went to the slave dungeons.
This is
when
a
I
story
say
I
the
like.
realization of how they thought we did not matter. We were less than humans. We were people that needed to be in captivity, that needed to be chained by our ankles, chained by our hands. And even being, when I stood in that slave dungeon, when you walk from the outside of the dungeon to the inside of the dungeon, you can feel like the stickiness of the bottom of the floor. And I remember asking, why does the floor feel like this? It felt waxy and sticky. And they said, that is the remains of your ancestors that did not make it.
That part right there, when she said she asked the question in Ghana, where she went, she said, why is the floor so sticky? Those are the remains of your ancestors. And they walking on them. When I say that hurt my heart so bad, that hurt my heart so bad. You walking on our ancestors. Y'all, they went through so much for us. To be disrespected. And they're still explaining this stuff today. And still have them there, like today, where people is walking over them. Just not caring. You see what Yandy she had to ask the question. Or she wouldn't have known what she was stepping all over. was heartbreaking. Just to really actually hear somebody say it out their mouth. They try to step over all of us, just like they did our ancestors, and still doing it today. When she was explaining that, I couldn't do never cry, because it did hurt my heart. Because today, I'm just gonna put in situations that I've been through. You know, when, say you're working for white people. I was working for a nursing home and also at the gas station. You know, it's owned by white people and they have nothing but white leadership. You know, no more than what we could be is black people are the managers. But to actually be something of even higher position, I see what I've been through. It's white people. So on one job from a nursing home, a CNA, I had became a manager in no time because they see how hard I worked and I took care of all the patients well and very good CNA. So they made me a supervisor. That's what they call it. To make a black person sound like they have some type of authority. But I never took my position like that. How I took my position as a just like a regular crew member. I took it the same way as what they call a supervisor, but it was a manager's position because you really did not have any type of authority, and I really wasn't. I was getting paid more than certain people, but the pay rate did not go up. But they wanted you to work. You do so much just for, you have to take on other people's responsibility. You have to take on your responsibility. And it really wasn't worth it because I was better off being a crew member, just a worker there, rather than to move up in position. But I knew I did a good job, and I knew I could take that position, and I could do a good job. But it was my own black people that became jealous of me. All black people that became jealous of me and tried to make my job hard, but I dealt with it. Until I left myself, gave my 2 weeks notice, and left myself. The people in the office, they didn't have to do anything. They weren't doing their jobs like they supposed to. Every time, even me, that was a manager, I always had to go and I tell them, you write it down in your book, taking notes and making sure how the day was, how your patients was, how everything went. And they made it so difficult for you in the position that you were in. The same way at the gas station, which is one of the biggest gas station, Pilot. And I was working there. They wanted, to talk to me about being a manager, but before they can ask me, I said I want to be a manager, but I will not sign up for something that I would not commit to. So one of the people over me that could get me that manager's position was like, well, we were talking about you, becoming a manager, but like I told him, I'm not going to sign up for a position that, I'm not willing to commit to. Yeah, I'm willing to commit to being a employee, but just not no manager, because I just was a manager basically at this nursing home, like this being a CNA. It's time to go up the ladder. But will you be that person just like him telling me, well, me and the person that's over the store, we were talking about you being a manager, will I ever get in that position? Will I ever be that person over the store? Is it because of my color? We can be more than managers. We can be more than supervisors. Why does it have to stop at supervisor? Assistant supervisor, a manager. Why does it have to stop there? We can run stores. We took care of our ancestors took care of their children, and they couldn't even take care of their own. And they still doing that. All of them get the children, put them in daycare, and that's it. It's nothing wrong with putting your kids in daycare, but sometimes you have some children that need to be taught and actually paid attention to by their parents. So I know exactly. It's like you can't get no further. They take up all the good positions. And I could say something about something else, but that's for a whole nother story. That's a whole nother video. But it's very devastating when you have to, you see yourself doing better. Because before I went to the nursing home, I seen myself doing better. So when I worked and I came and did what I had to do, that wasn't studying the people around me, but the ones who I'm supposed to be focused on, and I seen myself going up. God had his hands on me. And I had that position. And what the white person said, now you'll have seniority. That's what they told me. So meaning that now, if you say something, it means something. As if when I was just a regular employee, it didn't mean nothing. But now that you're running a whole shift, it means something because now you have seniority. But y'all, I tried to use the seniority. They didn't listen. It's just for they lazy butt to not have much to do while you do all the work. That's on each one of the jobs that I had. This is me personally, what I had to go through. So I ain't no allegedly in that. This exactly what they did. They have their privilege where they are at a higher level. I'm talking about a high level. And they come down, they barely do anything. And want to be OCD about what needs to be done when they ain't doing it. And like, well, I know can you do this and do that? And I like it done like this. The little work that they try to come up in there and do, it ain't doing nothing. Compared to all those black women at that nursing home, working their butts off. They can't keep nobody there at all. And then you know what? The people that work in the office that's white, they're off every weekend. These women have to fight to be off a weekend. Because you only have one weekend a month. Then, sometimes when people got their PTO, they call them back from their PTO because they don't have that much help. This is the world we live in and the stuff that black people have to deal with. Especially like myself. Like I'm not for to continue on working overboard for them to make them look good, to run up their cash in their business. And now, what? Ain't none of them finna buy anything from a black person. After you running up their business, making sure their business look good, making sure their business making money, they will work your butt to death. But they will not give you no recognition.
Yes. It wasn't about looking and dehumanizing to make you feel like an animal. In that moment, you were less than the animal. We don't even treat dogs like that. Yes. When they fed us in the slave dungeons, they would throw pieces of bread and meat through a little hole. And literally, only the survival, the stronger ones, could get to the food. So you had to literally step on people. Like, come on, like the crab in the barrel. That's what, there's so much about this society. There's so much about the way we are. That word to who we are that started 400 years ago. Yeah. Like, we had to climb on top of each other's back to get the food that they dropped down at the slave dungeons. So the weak ones, they didn't eat. The weak ones died. And then guess what? We're stepping on them. We're stepping on them.
I went to one in Calabar.
So I want to read a quote by Thomas Jefferson. So the person on your currency said this: "The first difference which strikes us is that of color." Okay, so notice how he nitpicks the features. Right? And is this difference of no importance? Is it not the foundation of a greater or less share of beauty in the two races? Add to these flowing hair, a more elegant symmetry of form, their own judgment in favor of the whites declared by their preference of them, as uniformly as the preference for the orangutan for the black woman over those of his own species. The circumstances of superior beauty is thought worthy attention in the propagation of our horses, dogs, and other domestic animals. Why not in that of man? Besides those of color, figure, and hair, there are other physical distinctions proving a difference of race. Okay, and so this is what one of the founding fathers of this country, this is the ideology, the narrative, right, that we now know are lies, but that was belief taken as fact. That is what this country was founded on, right? And so when we talk about why these words matter, and when we talk about racism versus colorism, we see that those things are intimately intertwined. Yep. Where I call racism and colorism like fire and smoke. Where there's one, you're going to see the other. They're not the same thing, but they always
they come together,
right? So here he's talking about how do we know that there's a difference in race? Well, let's start by looking at color, right? Let's start by looking at the hair.
Me, I'm black, but I have nieces and nephews who are half Puerto Rican and half black, and the black women come up and say, "Is this your nephew? Is this your niece? They're so pretty." And they only say it to my half Puerto Rican nieces. It just made my blood boil so bad because from an aunt perspective, I looked at my nieces, the full black ones that look like me, and they were just standing there because she's used to her little sister getting the praise. And I told the black lady, I said, "You don't see all my black nieces here? They're all beautiful." She's like, "Yes, they are." And I'm looking at her like, what is wrong? How can we fix this?
What's wrong with people?
This is a black woman, though. It's so deep to the self-hatred that they instilled in us, to feeling like lighter is brighter. It's better.
Yeah. So do you all think that what happened with Erica Mena was an instance of racism or colorism or both?
Both.
I think she has been told, I don't know her personally, but I know from experience that I think that she has been told her entire life that you look better than black women feature-wise. Your hair is better. Your skin is better. It's a thing.
When you're allowed into a culture, you're allowed to live amongst the culture,
say the same
breathe it,
and camouflage in.
Right.
After this, it's another debate that they had, and I
superior.
wanna
not necessarily superior.
discuss that.
No, it is the word.
But after this one,
you said camouflage, and kind of like you camouflage in. I'm like you, almost like
Right. Yeah.
I'm a minority too. And
That's what she said.
Right? Yeah. On the colorism side, or the concept of what people may feel preference may be, when it comes to black men, a lot of cats is always using that term. I want something foreign. I want this and that. Spanish
red. I want something red.
It would make somebody feel like they are better because your man is sitting here it's in the song. Listen to the music. Listen to the song.
Yep, right. Listen to the music, John.
You use the term systemic. It's not always just coming from an outside source.
No, it be.
It's adding to the whole systemic breakdown.
But this is the thing. Nowhere in our culture, if I sit at a table with you, if I sit at a culture and I'm across from people of Hispanic background, we might say to each other, "Child, please," like, and it's accepted amongst us. Even if you're immersed in black culture, that is accepted to a certain extent. Yes. We ain't never, ever be like, monkey, please. We don't do that. That is not something that's accepted in our culture, whether you're
so it's not as bad.
The reason it doesn't have the same implications if I said because we've gotten to a place.
And it doesn't have the same implications.
We've gotten to a place.
I don't give a damn what.
So what Yandy is trying to say is that regardless of whether you think the N-word is bad or not, it is accepted as a part of black culture.
Yeah.
The word monkey has never been.
We've never found out about it.
So let me finish the point. So what you were saying about, non-black people who are a part of the culture, who are accepted into the culture, they can't claim that.
You can't.
For why they use the term.
No, because we don't play like that.
It shouldn't be allowed in no kind of way.
But there are blurred lines.
No kind of, it ain't to me. It is. But you got to think though. In the past, it wasn't. You go back, it wasn't blurred. It was this what it is, you who you is, and I'm who I am, and you keep that some kind of way. They blurred it.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know it was blurred until I went to New York. When I went to New York, that's because the people, the different race in Atlanta can't say around us.
Yeah.
But when I went to New York, and I was like, how are you saying it?
Yeah.
But we grew up. See, I grew up amongst Latinos, and that is something that we blurred a lot. But even in that, right?
See, we just
if
been
you're
black and
around
white.
different, but if you come and you're a different nationality and you're a different race, and you say that word to a different group of people that ain't used to, you come to Atlanta and you Puerto Rican and you be like, please, they might not receive you. You've crossed the line with them.
But also I want to acknowledge your perspective, Scrappy, because if we're making the argument that the historical harm of a word means it's off limits, then that's where your argument is coming from, right? Yeah. So just like the word monkey is off limits because of that historical harm, the degradation and the violence that it led to, the N-word has also caused the same degradation.
I thought they supposed to be equal.
Right?
No, they ain't. Oh, excuse my language.
Hold on, wait.
They are. I feel like a racial slur.
John, you playing.
Anybody would say the N-word and the monkey because it was used to categorize us as slaves. Then there's
okay. I'm gonna say my commentary about this last ending about it. Saying the N-word and saying, monkey. So what I think is you shouldn't say if you're not in our culture and see Sierra pointed out the difference between New York and Atlanta. Like Atlanta is not gonna deal with you saying and you're from another country. You're from another culture, say you're Puerto Rican or something, and in Atlanta you saying the N-word and you saying the monkey word. It's like saying the N-word, and it's like saying the monkey word to Atlanta, the Atlanta people, natives. And with New York, it's like saying they accept it from them, the N-word. They don't accept the monkey word because they don't fly. And I kind of feel like if you're going to put it in that perspective, saying like another culture saying it and stuff like that, I feel like they should not say that. Show respect is what is due, because I'm quite sure in different cultures is different things that they would not like for another culture to say or another culture to do. You know what I'm saying? So if you really care about that culture, respect that culture. Respect it. And this is how we know when people real true colors come out. They can only respect it so long, till they, like Erica Mena did, come out with it, like she did. She came out from the depth of her soul. She was angry. She meant that. And that came from her heart. It hit a nail when Spice was like that about her son, but You took it way left, sis. You took it way left. It wasn't even about the child no more. You took it way left. You were mad about her talking to Safari. That's what you was mad about for real. But you wanted everybody to think it was your child who you was, what you was mad about. That wasn't it. You were mad even Safari is going around even talking about you with somebody else, and that she did not understand the reason why Safari would not want anything to happen to you when you were in the hospital having his child and you could have died. That was major. So y'all have to look at everything that Erica Mena said in his thing, what led all the way up into what she said. It wasn't right. Yeah, we'll go to bat for our children, but her child don't know her, Spice, and Erica Mena does not know Spice's kids and all this stuff. And Erica Mena, no doggone well, she knows the reason why her child is not on here. She knows how her child feels about her. Maybe it hit a nail because it could have been true or it could have not been true. But that is your child, Erica Mena. And I'm not finna go as far. Ain't nobody put no hand on my child. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't even coming after your child like that. You act like this lady was literally coming after your child's life. And it wasn't none of that. You got masses over a total different thing that you put on TV to act like you was mad for. You was in your acting mode then, far as when she said that about your child, but you said exactly what you wanted to say from your heart and your mind about monkeys and wishing death on her. I would never want a friend like that. Once you say something like that to me, you done to me. You done. At the end of the day, please comment and let me know how you feel about this situation. And if you watched the full interview and if you seen the faces of Scrappy, Yandy, and all them, just comment, like, and subscribe. I holla.